it was quite clogged. Oh my goodness. There's a freaking frog in there. It's similar to condoms. They're reaching too far. You're gonna have accidents. What is up, guys? Cleaning PhD here. And today we've got a few different things on this house. We've got a gutter clean that we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing inside windows, outside windows. There's grids on the windows. Those are usually an extra charge. We're gonna be doing those. And we're gonna be wiping the gutter faces. These are some add-ons you can do that can up your ticket price. Obviously, it's best not to be running all around town to different jobs. It's easier just to do everything all in one job. And so that's kind of the theme today, is gonna be getting these add-ons. So I'll show you exactly how to clean some gutters. Gonna do some inside windows, outside windows. It's gonna be a great day here. Let's get to it. Okay guys, so for gutter cleaning, I've got a very simple setup here. There's a lot of different tools you could use, but I'm just keeping it simple here. This is not my main gig, but it gets the job done. Obviously, you're gonna need a ladder there. I've got a bucket here. You can use any sort of bucket. A big key with this is go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get yourself a paint bucket hook. This will be great to attach to the ladder so you can have your hands free. Another one, I've got this wooden rod here with a thread on the top, and this is a gutter cleaning tool. You can get these on Amazon. It extends your reach, you know, about 4 feet. So that's great for either side of the ladder. This can get under the crossbars that are inside of the gutters, and that'll be great for pushing leaves, extending your reach. A leaf blower is very optional. It's helpful. You can get yourself a broom if you want, and that'll work okay. I'd also recommend a pair of gloves. If you're just doing raw dog, you're gonna get your hands all cut up in the gutters and everything. So get yourself a pair of rubber gloves or, you know, yard work gloves, and that should do fine. So there's a lot of different techniques. I'm not gonna go into every single detail here, but with ladders, man, you wanna be careful. I'm not actually a huge fan of ladders. I've never fallen, well, I've fallen off a ladder a long time ago. Wasn't a big deal, but you wanna be safe. I've got this little giant here. This is one of the safest ladders I've ever been on. It's nice and heavy. It's a 28 foot. I'd rather go bigger than smaller. I'd rather go more weight capacity than less weight capacity, just so you are nice and safe and solid. It's got these big feet that extend out, and they make it really solid when you're at the top. So we're gonna get up here. We're gonna check the gutters. What I'm doing, I'm just hand pulling the gutters, and there's gonna be all this shingle grit in here and stuff. I just get organic matter, and this is all, you know, detailed on the quote and everything. If you wanna flush out all the gutters, if you wanna blow out all the gutters, that's something you can do, but we're just getting the organic matter here. So you check all the way down the gutter. This is just shingle grit here. This is not a big deal. It's not gonna really impede the flow unless it's really backed up or really high in the gutter, which this stuff is not, so no big deal. So we're just gonna move on. We've checked all the way down to the end of that gutter there, and we've checked this gutter here. So we're gonna move right along. Pick your poison left or right. We're just gonna go all the way around the house. And we've got our tools. It's obviously hard to carry the ladder and the bucket at the same time. It can be done, but man, it takes a little bit of strength. So we're just gonna go here, take the ladder, get a firm grip on the bottom with one hand and a grip on top with the other hand, and lift up. You wanna make sure there's no power lines or anything. This is actually a ladder that does not conduct electricity, so if you happen to run into a power line. Obviously you want to avoid that, but in theory this should not conduct electricity. It's a fiberglass ladder. They are much heavier than aluminum ladders and they're more expensive. So we're going to look down. You can see the gutter's clear. Gutter's clear over here. There might be just a bit over there, so we're going to bring the ladder down. And these hooks are really nice. You can see you don't really want to hook it on the gutter itself. And people might get on me for resting the ladder on top of the gutter. You can get I don't know what they're called. They're these prongs that go out and rest on the roof. You can get those as well, but this is how I do it. I think they're called standoffs, something similar to that. They are nice because if they're resting on top of the roof and the bottom of the ladder kicks out, they'll actually keep you nice and safe. So we're actually going to go around the other side of this tree here and keep the fun rolling. We have screen cleaning as well. We're going to be doing this screened in porch, just in place. Obviously, you can't really remove them. Something I would really recommend is getting some sort of leveler or something. You really don't want to use a ladder with just straight feet that are not adjustable, unless your whole house is a one-story and it's totally even, which basically no houses are. With grass and stuff, it's going to be uneven, and so you really want to be safe in that way. Another thing, I don't know if you can see it, but down here is a leveler. Something like this where it's, you know, 10 feet off the ground. Not a big deal. But the higher and higher you get, you want to keep the ladder as level as possible. So you can see this gutter's clogged up here. We're just hand pulling. You do the best you can. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be way better than it was before. And that's a big theme with all window cleaning, with all service work. A lot of stuff is not going to be perfect. And that's kind of a trap that I fell into. And you can see this, as you touch this bush, this pine tree, all the needles fall into the gutter. So we're just going to be a little bit careful. That's kind of a trap that I fell into early on, was that I wanted everything to be perfect. And I still want things to be perfect. But you can spend countless hours, countless extra hours, and obviously it adds up over the course of the day. You can just check that the gutter's flowing. This is fine. There's just a little bit of organic matter, but it's one of those things where you can sit here and pick out every single grain of sand, but that's not really going to be, like, nobody really is going to be appreciating that. What we're going to be appreciating is that all the gutters are ready to flow. That's the main thing. It doesn't have to be all perfect. You can spend so long trying to make every little thing perfect on a job site, and that's great if you're charging huge amounts of money and you want to spend all day doing just little tiny things, but that's not ideal. Ooh, this roof job, something got screwed up with these shingles. And look, man, I stay in my lane in terms of areas of expertise. I'm not a shingle guy, so I'm not even gonna mess with that. I don't know what that is. I don't know, it looks wrong to me, but sometimes customers ask me about shingles, about their roof. Is my roof in good shape? Look, I don't really know if your roof is in good shape. I'm not a roof guy. I mean, who knows? People probably know out there if this roof is in good shape. It looks pretty fine to me. It's not totally I mean, it looks a little old. Well, I mean, it looks fine. Who knows? So I try not to give recommendations on things that are well out of my area of expertise. So we're just moving right along here. So yeah, that's what I'm saying is, I heard a quote that you have to allow small tragedies to occur all the time. Be comfortable with small tragedies occurring all the time so that you can actually focus on what's most important. I could spend all day getting every single grain of sand out of this gutter, but that's not going to help anybody. That's not really going to help the customer unless that's what they want, but that's not what is being paid for. So we're just going to keep moving right along. In general, with gutter cleaning, you want to start at the highest gutter first. So you can see here, these two gutters are overlapping. If this one had a bunch of stuff in it and it fell down into the bottom one and you clean the bottom one, then you'd have to go back and clean it again. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to start at the highest gutter and work your way down. When I'm getting up on a ladder, obviously with a nice, solid foundation, but you just want to, it's not going to with a nice solid foundation, it's not really going to move back and forth. As long as you're level on the bottom there, you're going to be good to go. But you just want to give it a bounce, make sure everything's steady. It's better to fall from 5 feet than from 25 feet. Get this. And this is a little leaf. It's organic matter. It's something that could build up over time. As long as I can get it out, that'll be fine. And you see there's a leaf here. With this tool, you can easily get all the leaves from these crossbars that are present in gutters and just work your way down. You can see the gutters are clear all the way down. So we're going to keep moving right along. And sometimes that's the case with gutters. Sometimes they're packed and sometimes they're not. But regardless of whether they're packed or not, you are getting up on a ladder. There's risk involved in that. You're checking out all the gutters. You're making sure everything will flow well for the winter. And that's the main thing. So we're gonna set up there with this. So if you were just hand pulling, you'd have to move your ladder way over here so you can make sure you can reach it. But with this tool here, you can set up with, I've got 3-foot arms, I'm a tall guy. So you can set up with 6 feet on either end and you'll be able to reach all of that. So you can see down here, there's stuff at the end. This is all kind of small stuff, but we'll get it out because it's organic matter. It can build up over time. We're here. We've set the ladder up. It'll take 30, 40 seconds to get it all. Not going to be a big deal. So small tragedies happening, you want to allow. I used to think the windows had to be absolutely perfect, no streak in the world, not from any angle, no piece of lint or dust allowed on the windows. But most people, they don't really care about that. You're looking at windows all day. You've got a magnifying glass eye, and you know exactly all the imperfections on the window. Now, it really depends on your client. Some clients, they really do care about all that stuff. Some, not so much. The majority of people are not going to be, how do you lower this thing? Oh, there we go. the majority of people are not going to be, you know, they're not going to notice all the stuff you do. They're just going to be walking past the windows. Uh-oh. There we go. Knocked my camera around. They're not going to be inspecting all the windows with a magnifying glass. And it's funny I mentioned that. We're actually going to set up here, because I saw before there wasn't a whole lot of anything in these gutters except for at the end here. And with this, you can actually reach back and get this section of gutter as long as that, as well as the section of gutter my ladders rested on. That's another thing here. These ladders, they have this groove in here. And sometimes, I don't know why they're there, but it will move on you if you just instantly start going up the ladder. So you want to make sure those are locked into place before you actually get going up the ladder. All right, so we've got a little bit more here. Gonna lock our bucket onto the ladder and get going. And this is ooh, fell right in there. This is a good idea. This is where it's a good idea to have a leaf blower, because you're going to be hand pulling, and sometimes you're hand pulling all this dusty debris and leaves, and dust is falling, and you can already see here there's dirt that got on the deck there. So leaving that is, you know, you don't want to leave a bunch of stuff that the customer's got to clean up. That's not the best. So we're moving right along here, scraping out the gutter, getting all this stuff. And the main rule with ladders is keeping 3 points of contact. It's not always possible, but that's a good rule of thumb, is to keep 3 points of contact on the ladder if you can. Especially if you don't feel great about your balance. And even if you do, it's not impossible to lose your balance, even if you think you are Mr. Balance Act. All right, let's keep going. Make sure I'm still recording, and I am. Man, what a beautiful day. The customer here is actually not home. Once you get into window cleaning and or you know, a service business in general, you will have, sorry, I had to check my text here. There's actually, I'm supposed to get in this house, but that is not happening right now. The garage door, for some reason, the code's not working, so I'm just doing outside stuff right now. I'm gonna try the code in a bit and see if I can get inside. When you start doing service business stuff and you have clients that you've had for 8, 10, 12 years, they really trust you. And you know, it doesn't particularly matter to me if the client's home or not, but you'll actually go faster if you don't have to deal with people. If you can just get going right away, you don't have to talk. I do like talking to clients. I love that stuff. There's a lot of really cool people. But if nobody's there and you can just get right to work, that's cool too. So we're gonna have to extend the ladder here. You can see it's a little uneven, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And what are we? We might be 3/4 of the way done here. I'm gonna give it another couple feet up. And make sure we're level. We're good there. Give it a couple bounces. You can check as well. Put your feet right to the bottom here. And the rung that's level with your shoulders, you should just be able to reach right out and grab it. And that means you've got a pretty good angle, because you don't want the ladder too far away from the house. You also don't want it too close. Too close is probably better, even though they're both not ideal. I see a lot of painters with very steep, very steep ladders. And I think that's specifically because they have to get right to the paint, right close to the siding. So I think they just naturally have to have steeper ladders because of that. But that kind of scares me a little bit. So as you can see, we did the top one here first, and we're gonna move to the bottom. My phone is getting blown up. The thing is, I know if I check it, I'll have to blur all that out. So, but I do want to respond to the client. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I wish they left me a key. It should be so simple. It's just a keypad on the garage, but I think I might have messed it up because they sent me a pound sign at the end of the code, and I wonder if that messed it up. Oh well, we keep doing what we can do. We're just scooping here. Obviously, like, this isn't rocket science. I don't know if a lot of this needs to be explained. It's just about being safe on a ladder. That's kind of the main thing. Gutter cleaning is pretty good money because I think that's one of the number ways that homeowners injure themselves each year are with ladders. So if you can be really safe on a ladder and you can get a nice sturdy ladder, and don't rush it, you know, don't lean way far out. A lot of people do that. They lean way too far out and the ladder kicks out or something. But you can see here, those nice wide legs at the bottom. It gives you so much protection. Obviously the standoffs would be really nice as well. Some people hate me because, I mean, it will scuff up the gutter, but you can tell somebody else already scuffed up this gutter. And there's some oxidation as well. Somebody else already scuffed up this gutter. Not saying that that's a good thing, but a lot of people do that. It's not really gonna harm the gutter other than the paint. So putting your ladder directly on the gutter, I think it's not the worst thing in the world, especially if that's what the customer understands you're doing. You know, it's all detailed in there. It's all detailed in the contract. If we scuff up the gutter a little bit, it is what it is. Maybe I should get standoffs. Let me know in the comments. You can see this piece of gutter here was quite clogged. Oh my goodness. There's a freaking frog in there. How did that guy get in there? Hey buddy. Oh my goodness. There's a frog in here. What the heck? Buddy, there was a frog. Oh, I know you want it. I know. Frogs, they really want to jump out of your hand when you're 20 feet off the ground. How did you get up there? It's okay. It's okay. There you go, buddy. Dang. He was 20 feet off the ground in a gutter. Man, the things you find in a gutter. That's crazy. I saw something moving. How does a frog get in there? That is wild. Man, that's hilarious. And you can see here, This thing will cut your hand up. I used to do gutters right when I started without any gloves, and my hands were just shredded up when I got home because there's all these pokey things, aluminum, like even this here, you can hear that. If you get caught on that, all these screws sticking out, pieces of jagged metal, it's not good for your hands, and you're gonna be cut up. I've seen people raw dog it, but I would not recommend that in the least. So you can see we're going down the line. We're checking the gutters all the way down, and obviously there's stuff at the end, so we're gonna have to place our ladder down there and go for that. Now, I don't expect everybody to grab themselves. I think this ladder shipped to me. I mean, it's a heavy ladder, so getting heavy things shipped to you is like a freight charge. So I think this ladder, it was around $600. And I think, honestly, the shipping was $200 or $150 or something. So I don't expect everybody to get a $750 ladder. This is one of the ideal ladders. It's amazing. But I mean, Home Depot or Lowe's, they have leveler ladders that you can get where you don't need, you can get levelers and it's not, you know, an $800 ladder. So, but make sure when you're buying a ladder, you get levelers when you're doing gutter cleaning. It's going to be really helpful for you. Just going to be gentle. We're not quite level up there. The reason these little levelers here are good is because at the bottom of the ladder, it might be just off slightly, but actually as you move up, it gets more off. The angle gets way more off. So at the bottom, you might say, hey, it's just off by a bit. But as you climb the ladder, you will notice how steep it gets and how catawampus it gets at the top. There's your dictionary word of the day, if you needed one. Catawampus. I think it means like lopsided or something like that. Man, I don't like this. The gutter's all crooked, and this bucket's not in a good spot. If you're on the deck, it's a little bit worse if you drop leaves and stuff because it shows on the deck, and you don't want the customer to have to blow off their whole deck. But if it's on grass like we are here, it's not a big deal to drop some leaves on the grass. It'll happen. It'll blend in, you know, the lawn care crew will get it. Make sure we work from the top down so that we don't have to re-clean any gutters. Here's a great example of this thing in action. We're just gonna clean up all this. There's a little bit of shingle grit in there. And we don't want to scrape it too hard. I mean, it is plastic and the gutters are aluminum, so the chance of damage is quite small. But you know, you want to be gentle. And sometimes these gutters, they're not built great. All these crossbars are all coming off, and the gutter can actually be quite rickety. So I'd be very careful. I'd be careful setting up on any sort of deck, a ladder on any sort of deck. I mean, this video can kind of turn into a ladder PSA, a ladder safety video in a way. Any sort of slippery deck, even slippery cement. I mean, cement's usually very safe, but if cement hasn't been clean in a little while and it's all black and green and slippery, you really do not want to set up your ladder, because it might not look like much in the video, but I'm a good 20 feet off the ground right now. So you don't want to be worried about things. There's plenty of times, I mean, just last week, or just earlier this week rather, I was on a job. It was a post-construction job, and it's all sand, and it's incredibly nerve-wracking if you have to go up 25 feet to get a window and it's all sand at the bottom. You want to, because you're just worried about the ladder slipping. As much as you can do, you can get on the bottom of the ladder and you can pound it in, you can shake it back and forth, and that's what you want to do, but it doesn't take away that worry, you know, of, hey, what if this ladder falls? You're going to be pretty much toast. So that's not to fear monger. That's not to like make you feel like you're going to die when you're on a ladder. It's to give you respect for the ladder. Talking about the #1 thing that homeowners get hurt on each year. It's just to make you respect it. I mean, that's why, like, I'm not some rich guy. I think I'm doing super good for being a male, a young male, you know. Anyways, I invested in a safe ladder. And you don't need a $750 ladder, but you should be safe. That's the main thing. You should be safe with the ladder and just respect it. Get your angles right. Don't set up on slippery things. Make sure your ladder's level. All these things are going to contribute towards being safe on the job. And that's something my dad, from an early time, basically drilled into my brain, was safety first. And I think that's a great lesson, is safety first. You don't want to be messing around on a ladder. There's no window that's worth your life. There's no gutter that's worth your life. There's no amount of money that's worth having your back broken. And some people might say the whole idea of getting on a ladder is risking your life. Which, that's a good point. Getting on a ladder in general. Maybe I should be in an office somewhere behind a desk, and that would be less risky. It's all degrees of risk. I'd say ladders in general. I've actually got an analogy, and this is it's not an NSFW analogy, but it's similar to, man, I'll just use this analogy because it's kind of funny. It's similar to condoms. Condoms have a great success rate when used perfectly, right? They've got like a 98% success rate of preventing pregnancy when used perfectly. But plenty of people don't use condoms perfectly. They double up, they reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle the condoms. and it's just like that. Ugh. And this is something you want to be careful of. So this ladder is almost fully extended. When you're picking it up, you don't want to lean it back a whole lot, or you can easily get, it can easily get away from you. So a lot of times, especially if you've got like trees, if you've got a long way to go with a ladder, you might just want to go ahead and bring it down and then reset it back up. This feels good. It's right on a hill, so it's basically impossible for it to slip back. We're moving right along. We're getting there. We're getting there. So that's all to say, with ladders, when they're used, oh, and this guy's pretty packed. When they're used, ideally, they're actually pretty safe. They're fairly safe, not a huge risk. But when people put them on slippery floors, when the angle is totally off, when they're playing around, when they don't have their hands on the ladder and they're not fully secured in there, they're reaching too far, you're gonna have accidents, and the likelihood's gonna go way up of having an accident on the ladder. So yeah, just respect it. Respect the ladder. And I've seen some crazy stuff. I actually used to work way back when, come on, at a gutter company near me. And it was kind of crazy, the stuff people would do on the ladders, especially like, I don't know, there was a coked up guy. Well, I assume he was coked up. Yeah, he would go in the bathroom at like 6 a.m. because I think we'd have to get to work you'd have to be there at 6 a.m. So quite early mornings. And shortly after we got to work, he would go in the bathroom and come out a completely different man. He would come out all hyped up, like talking super fast. And it's like you're loading up the trucks it's like 6:30 a.m. It's in the dead of winter, it's cold. And this guy is like hopping off the walls. And he would do like, when he would get off a ladder, he would do like a fireman's, I don't know, he would grab the sides and wrap his feet around the sides and just slide down the ladder. Yeah, not best practices. Actually, at that same place, I saw a guy, because we were cleaning gutters, and on a lot of roofs, if the pitch is pretty reasonable, you can actually just get up on the roof and blow them off, or either blow them off or hand pull them from the roof. But the roof had frost on it. Oh man, sketchy. Oh man. Yeah. I'm just gonna bring the ladder down. Make it a little bit more manageable with these trees. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, so it's reasonable if the roof is not a bad pitch to just get up and hand pull or blow out the gutters. But if it's if it's been below freezing for quite a while, a lot of the gutters will be frozen. And so that's not an ideal time to clean gutters when they're all frozen, because you're gonna have to be ice picking at the gutters. And frozen gutters are already gonna be a little bit more brittle. They're not gonna be as malleable. So they're gonna be, yeah, you don't wanna be ice picking at the gutters, essentially. All right, guys, well, I don't think there's a whole lot else that I've got on the topic of gutters. I think you guys see my technique here. And so we're gonna move on. I'm gonna finish up these gutters, and then we're gonna go ahead and get going on some windows. So this is Cleaning PhD. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.